Hi again, this is Lena from Lena's Pretty Things. My son walked in, of course. So here's part two, without people walking in the door. Yay, yes. Okay, so we got this elderberry syrup, and it contains elderberries, dried ginger root, and cinnamon. And you mix it up, and you put it in the pretty little bottle that I put the thing on. This is elderberry syrup. And when it's all gone, we're going to have this at Yule for winter solstice. I don't know what we'll have it in. Tea, maybe? Right? Put it in tea or something. So that's what that's for, and it looks good. Let's smell it and see if it smells good. I know they can't smell it, but I can smell it. Tell them if it smells good, right? Maybe if I can get it open.
It'd be delicious with
Smell.
some elderberry mead.
It smells so good.
It does.
And I think it's more like a tea blend. It's going to be thick. And it's supposed to be for like, what did I read on that thing? It says, this packet contains approximately 1 teaspoon of dried elderberries, 1 teaspoon of ginger pieces, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon chips. Use this pre-measured mix and the rest of the recipe ingredients, which I'll have to find, to create an immune-supporting elixir for the dark half of the year. Add 1 or both of these honey sticks to your elderberry syrup to sweeten the elixir and prolong shelf life. And it says, after the elderberry syrup is cooked and cooled, pour the finished product into the flask bottle, label it, and store it in your refrigerator. And then we have a winter solstice card, ritual card, which is here. And we have a pentagram amulet, which was the necklace, and a forget-me-not seed pod. That's what's in the seed thingy there for forget-me-nots. It says, forget-me-not seed pod. Legend says that many years ago, a man and a woman were leisurely strolling along the Danube River. While walking hand in hand, the man spotted a mat of blue. He nearly stepped on a beautiful patch of flowers. These flowers were unlikely any that they had ever seen, with tiny blue petals that resembled a mouse's ear. The man released his lover's hand and went to gather a bouquet, but as fate would have it, the moment he handed her the flowers, he slipped and fell into the river. As the tide swept him away, he called to his lady love and begged that she never forget him. To this day, forget-me-not symbolizes internal devotion. For the winter solstice ritual, plant the seed pod to balance the energy exchange that's taking place today. With so many flowers to choose from, we selected the forget-me-not as a symbol of our endless devotion to Mother Nature, no matter the season, and our connection of spirit. Conclude the ceremony by caring for the plant in the name of Roman goddess and weaver of fate, Decima. Cool. Okay. And then the winter solstice ritual card says, in addition to this month's kitchen witch ritual, we've included a spell for that coming winter solstice. This midwinter ceremony was designed around the 6 charms from our amulet series. Together we will set plans, visualize, and utilize the 5 elements to invoke the weaver of fate, Decima. Perform this ritual on the winter solstice and any time you feel called to practice your manifestation abilities. If you are a new subscriber or are missing any of the amulets in the series, add another charm, talisman, or item of power in its place. Cool. The pentagram amulet necklace. This pentagram amulet is the 6th and final charm in our amulet series, so I'll have to go back and try to get the other ones. Despite its significance in witchcraft, and this is the November box, by the way. When I ordered on Tamed Wild, the box I ordered said it was for November. So I'm like a month behind myself. Despite its significance in witchcraft and pagan practices, the pentagram is one of the most widely misunderstood symbols. Associated with the elements of air, water, earth, fire, and spirit, we can use the pentagram during ritual or wear it to symbolize a relationship to the natural world. To add the amulet to a chain, use a pair of pliers to open the jump ring, blah, blah, blah. We all know how to put on a necklace. We don't need to read that one. The pentagram amulet follows the moon charm form, April's box, the sun from July's box, the tiger's eye amulet from August's box, the gold leaf from September's box, and the hermit tarot card from the October box. Definitely have to go back. Gonna have to go back and get those extra boxes. While you do not need to acquire the entire collection, you can purchase past amulets and matching bracelets on our website, www.tamedwild.com, TAMEDWILD.com. And so that's about the elixir. which is up there in that box. Okay. And then we got this little cookbook. I'm going to show you what's in it. Tamed Wild. Wild Recipes for Medicinal and Magical Kitchen, Volume 2. It's got...
That's volume 2, so that means there's another one somewhere.
Yeah. Wild Recipes for Medicinal and Magic Kitchen. And then it says Green Goddess Soup. Wild and Weedy Hummus. Vegan rosemary and garlic flatbread. That sounds pretty good. Homemade marinara sauce. Mini apple crumbles.
Oh, it sounds yummy.
Mulling spices. I like apple cider. Little bit of everything spice blend. Solar plexus salt-free blend. Chinese 5-spice blend. These are for teas. You got your Shining Star, Feeling Focused, Digest and Reset, Heart and Bloom, Lucidia Tea, Drinks and Brews, elderberry syrup. So there's the rest of the recipe. And for optional, I mean, we've got the mix. The optional thing is adding vodka or brandy. And, of course, a cup of water to it. And then there's calendula iced tea from the calendula flowers. A hot toddy. My grandma used to make those. I think she must be witchy, too, and just didn't know it. Farm fresh apple cider. Gin and ginger cocktail, or a mocktail. Glossary just tells you what's all in everything. And some pretty little pictures. I like the little witchy hat.
I do like that one as well.
The little witchy hat. Also
Very
like the
pretty.
little cauldron thing back there. So we also have Divining with the Kitchen Witch. Just when the dark months arrive and we start to feel disconnected from Mother Nature, the Kitchen Witch knocks on our door. Along with her magical know-how, she brings bundles of dried herbs, spices, and powders that she stashed away during harvest season. She's resourceful, she's innovative, and she's not afraid to swap this for that or scratch out an old recipe and scribble a new one on a whim. The Kitchen Witch's recipes are both magical and medicinal. She boils, bakes, and creates with intent. She knows that in order to be the best version of herself, that she must take care of her physical body and mind. She chooses ingredients based on taste, but also on what else they offer. If the Kitchen Witch wants to generate luck, she adds basil or cinnamon. If she's seeking a spark to ignite creativity while supporting digestive vigor, she throws in a pinch of ginger and fennel. Over time, the act of making magic in the kitchen can become an intuitive form of healing, and it's an excellent way to further our relationship with plants and understand how the food we consume affects our bodies. For this ritual, we will reconnect with the Kitchen Witch by creating one of her famous elixirs, elderberry syrup. If you do not consider yourself a culinary goddess, don't fret. Spend time looking through the Wild Recipes book, and if you need to, choose a recipe that's simple as a warm-up. Get your hands dirty by mixing a spice blend or tea, and when you feel ready, move on to the elderberry syrup. Elderberry syrup has been a staple in home aromatherapy for centuries. The mixture of cooked elderberries, spices, and honey is believed to strengthen our immune system and defend against the flu season. But the Kitchen Witch knows that infusing our creations with intent is just as important as the ingredients we use. So before you begin, gather some measuring cups, the elderberry syrup packet, honey sticks, water, and vodka or brandy, if that's what you want in it. Display everything in front of you. Not only will arranging your ingredients this way make the cooking process easier, but you'll have time to break down the magical and medicinal properties within each component. Begin by assigning a property to each of the materials that you'll be using today. If you are unfamiliar with any of the ingredients, refer to the glossary section of the Wild Recipe book for more information. You can also spend some time handling each ingredient and relying on your intuition to tell you what this element has to offer. When you've established what you plan to extract from each ingredient, combine these elements to create an intention for the syrup. You may be called to use the elements of fire, ginger and cinnamon, water, elderberries, air, elderberries, and earth, honey, to keep yourself balanced, or perhaps you'll focus on the productive qualities within each plant. Whatever you choose, state your intention loud and clear before you begin. Turn to the page with the elderberry syrup recipe and follow the instructions. Attempt to stay present during the entire process. Ignore any messes or mistakes and imagine that your saucepan is a giant cauldron. See yourself as the wise crone, expertly mixing a magical elixir as you whisper incantations into the brew. While the syrup is cooling, tidy up your workspace, making sure to thank each herb and powder for sharing their healing properties with you today. When it's time to add the honey, imagine a symbol or a seagull that speaks to the purpose of your creation. You might choose a homemade seagull representing health.
Central.
That. A Nordic rune, the symbol of the triple goddess, or a word that encompasses your intent. Squeeze the honey sticks into the brew, drawing the symbol as you pour. When all the honey is added, mix well until the honey and intentions are fully combined. Conclude the ritual by taking notes about today's creation in your journal or grimoire. Include any substitutions or alterations to the recipe, and be sure to consider any messages or visions that come through while divining the kitchen witch. Don't tire. Winter solstice. Winter solstice is on December 21st and 22nd. Those of us in the northern hemisphere will celebrate the winter solstice. While typically assumed to be a one-night affair, celebrating the longest night of the year, many witches and pagans will recognize this astrological event over a period of several days or weeks. We will light candles, decorate our homes, host feasts, tell stories, eat too much, drink too much, laugh until our stomach aches. And when the guests return home, savor the fleeting moments of solitude that midwinter shares with us year after year. The counterpoint for midwinter, is the peak of the dark half of the year. Although it won't be noticeable at first, after the solstice, the sun will gradually regain its strength. The days will become longer and the nights shorter, and the plans we made during the dark months will be put into action. But not yet. Now is the time to dive deep into the goddess's watery depths. We find our place alongside the mother archetype, the moon, and the dark goddess within each and every one of us. We uncover our strengths through solitude and stillness, and use these quiet moments to reflect, to fine-tune our divinatory practices, to study, to rest, and to evaluate what's worked for us in the past and what hasn't. During midwinter, we turn inward. Instead of relying on physical sight to guide us on our journey, we work on opening the third eye and setting the groundwork to transmit dreams into reality. A midwinter ritual to appease the fates. In the days and weeks surrounding midwinter, Mother Earth appears to be in a dream state. Like the sun, time seems to stand still. This makes us sense when we consider the solstice. Comes from the Latin word sol, sun, and sistere, to stand still. Trees, creatures, and the cosmos all appear to be sound asleep. Asleep they may be, but as Gloria Steinem says, dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. If we know a thing or two about dreamland, we know that in this realm, anything is possible. We've designed this midwinter ritual to appease the fates, more specifically the middle sister, Decima, or Lachesis if you prefer her Greek counterpart. Decima is responsible for weaving the details of our destiny. Although some people insist that the fates decide our purpose on the day of our birth, like our deities, they take special note of those who speak to them, leave them offerings, and express gratitude for their efforts. I will scan these cards. Well, I won't scan these cards. I will put the link to Tamed Wild into the description box, so anybody can go on her site and order from Tamed Wild if you like. And this was a $20 box. Thank you guys, everybody. Subscribe if you haven't. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Give a comment.
And to the fellow witches out there, don't forget, we are bringing in the Age of Aquarius. Be ready.